communist empires. They will muck up our beautiful dream. And it'll take another revolution, maybe 2 or 3, and clean it up. That's what I was afraid of. No, I wasn't going to have Piper translate Das Kapital into English. It represented 15 years of work and the conditions of Soho. Walking every morning past beggars sleeping amidst the sewage, making my way to the British Museum and its magnificent library, working there until dusk, reading. Is there anything more dull than reading political economy? Yes, writing political economy. Then home through the darkening streets, listening to the vendors calling out the prices of their wares. Veterans of the Crimean War, some blind, others without legs, begging for pennies in the foul air. Yes. The poor smell of London. Well, my critics, trying to minimize what had gone into Das Kapital, would say, as they always say about radical writers, oh, he must have had a dreadful personal experience. Well, yes, if you want to make much of it. That walk home through Soho is what fueled the anger that went into Das Kapital. Oh. I hear you saying, well, of course that's how it was then, a century ago. Only then, eh? On my way here today, I walked through the streets of your city, surrounded by garbage, breathing in foul air, past the bodies of men and women sleeping in the street, huddled together against the cold. But instead of a lassie singing an Irish ballad, I heard a voice in my ear. Some change, Mac, for a cup of coffee. You call this progress? Because you have automobiles, telephones, flying machines, and 1,000 potions to make you smell better. And people sleeping on the street. An official report. The United States gross national product, yes, gross, last year was $7,000 billion. Most impressive. But tell me, where is it? Who is profiting by it? Who is not? Less than 500 individuals control $2,000 billion in business assets. Tell me, are these people more noble, more hard-working, more valuable to society than the mother in a tenement nurturing 3 children in the cold with no money to pay the heating bill? Did I not say 150 years ago? That capitalism would create a huge amount of wealth, but this wealth would be confined to fewer and fewer hands. One more report. I'm sure you'll get a kick out of this. Giant merger of Chemical Bank and Chase Manhattan Bank. 12,000 workers will lose jobs. Stocks rise. And they say my ideas are dead, eh? Do you know Oliver Goldsmith's poem, The Deserted Village? Ill fares the land to hastening ills a prey, where wealth accumulates and men decay. Yes, decay. That's what I saw this morning, walking through your city. Houses decaying, schools decaying, human beings decaying. I was suddenly surrounded, after a bit, by men of obvious wealth, women in jewels and furs. But suddenly I heard the sound of a siren. Was violence being done somewhere nearby? Was a crime being committed? Was someone trying to take part of the gross national product illegally from those who had stolen it legally? Ah, the wonders of the market system. Human beings reduced to commodities. Their lives controlled by the master commodity, money. Oh, committee doesn't like that. In that little flat in Soho, Jenny would make hot soup and boiled potatoes, and we'd have some fresh bread from our friend the baker down the street, and we'd sit around the table and eat and discuss the events of the day, the Irish struggle for freedom, the latest war, the stupidity of our country's leaders, and a political opposition confining itself to pips and squawks, and a cowardly press. I suppose things are different now these days, eh? Yes, I noticed. Also, after dinner, we clear the table, and I'd go to work. But first, with my cigars close at hand and my glass of beer. Yes, I'd work until 3 or 4 in the morning, and my books would be piled up on one side of the table. The parliamentary reports would be piled up on the other, and Jenny would be at the other end of the table transcribing. You see, my handwriting was terrible. And she would rewrite every word of mine. Can you imagine a more heroic act? Well, occasionally there'd be a crisis. No, not a world crisis. A book would be missing. And one day I couldn't find my Ricardo. And I asked Jenny, where is my Ricardo? And she said, the principles of political economy? Well, she thought I had finished with it and took it to the pawn shop. And I lost my temper. My Ricardo! You pawned my Ricardo! And she said, oh, be quiet. Last week, didn't we pawn the ring my mother gave me? Pardon me. Well, that's how it was. We pawned everything. Especially those gifts from Jenny's family. When we ran out of those gifts, we pawned our clothes. One winter, do you know London winters? I did without my overcoat. Another time I walked out of the house and my feet began to freeze on the snow. I suddenly realized I wasn't wearing any shoes. We had pawned them the day before. When Das Kapital was published, we celebrated. But Engels had to give us money so we could go to the pawn shop and retrieve our linens and dishes for the dinner